If you didn't, pass it around. We'll start with a moment of silence and then followed by the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Final public hearing of the fiscal year 2024 Monroe County Community Development Block Grant Program. Jennifer Stark, Monroe County Redevelopment Authority. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you for having me here. My very first time and my very first new role as the Executive Director of the Authority. Today is our final hearing for our Community Development Block Grant. We oversee the block grant for two entitlement communities, which is East Stroudsburg Borough and the Stroudsburg Borough, along with the Monroe County entitlements. So we're letting the community know that the county will be applying for the FY 2024 Community Development Block Grant funds in the amount of $664,120 to undertake housing and or community development activities, which will primarily benefit low to moderate income persons in various municipalities in Monroe County. The county is eligible to apply for the grant monies under the provisions of PA Act 179 of 1984. The deadline to submit this application to PA Department of Community and Economic Development is November 1st of 2024. And this public hearing is part of the requirements that we allow the community to have input into our application. So in accordance with the Act, the grant monies that are being dispersed to Monroe County for FY24 and its two entitlement communities are as follows: $395,098 to Monroe County to benefit the non-entitlement communities, $154,788 to East Stroudsburg Borough, $114,234 to Stroudsburg Borough. And based upon this public hearing needs and municipality functions and requests, all of which are eligible and fundable under the requirements of the CDBG program, this will be used on housing units and street and road projects. So the breakdown of how the money will be spent is in Monroe County, we'll be using the money for housing rehab and preservation programs of low to moderate income people. These are programs that will support roofing, windows, health and safety issues within a home in order to keep low to moderate income homeowners in those homes safely residing there, predominantly seniors in Monroe County. We will be spending $323,981 on that single rehab unit application residential, and then $71,117 is program administration, doing all the reporting requirements, making sure we're following the guidelines for DCD to make sure that we're utilizing the money correctly. East Stroudsburg Borough and Stroudsburg Borough are both doing street and road projects, which are still in the determination stage with each of the boroughs to make sure that those street and roads projects are in locations that are low to moderate income where these projects will be taking place. East Stroudsburg Borough project will be $126,927, and then $27,861 will be program administration. Stroudsburg Borough Street and Road Project will be $93,672, with $20,562 being program administration for the Community Development Block Grant. And that will be our FY24 Community Development Block Grant application, which we will be submitting first.
Are there any questions for Jen?
Jen, are there any, going forward, options for group homes, rehabs, halfway houses, respite care, something maybe that may benefit a reentry program in the county, that sort of thing. I don't know what options might be available through the redevelopment authority money.
There is, CDBG gives you a lot of breadth of activities in which you can do within the county.
Ignore the trembling in the building.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, as an entitlement community, our community is not really allocated a lot of money in this particular area. So what I'm hoping to do in the future is to apply for additional competitive grant money. And there is also some other money that I'm looking at right now that would be perfect for the reentry programs, including the FAIR funding, which is out now. So yeah, what we can't do under a community development block grant, we will be able to do under some of our other funding sources.
Great, thank you.
You mentioned the non-entitlement community.
Mhm.
So who is that? Who's
So-
in the community?
So, community development block grant is a formula funded based grant. And so based on population and poverty and whole formula that comes out of the state, they are what determines entitlement and non-entitlement communities. So we are a non-entitlement community, meaning our funding goes through the state and then we get allocated a portion from the state of that particular funding. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Okay.
It's one way to start learning though.
So there
So-
are big places like Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, big cities like that, they're entitlements. So they get their community development block grant directly from HUD. We
We have to go through the state.
we have to go through the state. The state determines the funding formula, and that's how we get our allocation. This is something money that is there for Monroe County.
Right.
We just have to apply for it in order to get it to come to us.
So then when you say population, are you talking about population in numbers or the type of population? Like,
It's
is it categorized?
Yeah,
Both.
both. It's
Okay.
both. It's low to moderate income. The projects that are done with community development block grant have to be in low to moderate income areas, which means below 50% area median income, which right now is, don't quote me on it. I can't give you the number off the top of my head, but yeah. So right now, area median income in Monroe County is approximately $100,000. So yeah. So 50% of that is the population we're focusing on.
So can your allocation go to projects anywhere in the 20 municipalities, or are they specifically low-income municipalities within the county?
So that's a really great question. So with the county allocation of funding, we do the housing rehab program. And so it can be a low-income individual in a community that may not qualify, but that individual qualifies as a low-income individual. So, so we're income qualifying them on an individual basis as we do the housing rehab
From anywhere in the
from
county?
anywhere in the county. Yep, you got it.
Okay,
You got it.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Jen. Any public comment on agenda items only? Seeing none, we'll move on to amend the motion of 2024-293 dated 9/18/24 to include pretrial DUI service travel request.
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Amend motion 2024-302 dated 9/18/24 to revise the purchase of field materials and supplies for adult probation department in the amount of $1,090.95 to $1,390.95, an increase of $300 due to increased freight charges. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Old business. Approve the minutes of the 9/18/24 Commissioners meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Proclamations and certificates. Can I have a motion for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, please?
So moved.
Second. Sharon, if you could present this to our friend Lauren Peterson, please.
Lauren, thank you. Lauren,
Let's go over there.
Go over there.
Yeah, I'll meet you.
You take the high road.
And I'll take the low. Right here is really.
Our sweet spot right here?
Is the mic still working here? Okay, thank you. Monroe County Commissioner's Office proclamation. Whereas the mission of Safe Monroe, formerly Women's Resources of Monroe County, is to provide a safe and caring environment, which is healing and empowerment for anyone whose life has been impacted by domestic violence. And whereas domestic violence is a pervasive issue that affects individuals across all demographics, regardless of age, gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, or social economic status. And whereas domestic violence undermines the safety, dignity, and well-being of individuals, casting lasting physical, emotional, and psychological harm. And whereas between July 2023 to June 2024, the agency has provided 2,754 hours of counseling and 245 hours of legal advocacy services to 348 individuals affected by domestic abuse. 86 adults and children were provided safety from domestic violence through 7,481 nights of shelter and over 1,360 hotline calls through their 24-hour crisis hotline were taken. And whereas raising awareness about domestic violence is critical in promoting prevention, supporting survivors, and holding abusers accountable, as well as working collaboratively to create safer communities and provide accessible resources for survivors. And whereas members of our community are urged to support and assist in any way possible to advance a society where all can live in peace, free from violence, abuse, and exploitation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Monroe County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims the month of October 24 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Monroe County, and further commends all who work towards eliminating domestic violence in our county. My honor to present this to Lauren Peterson.
Sure, wherever you want to.
Yeah,
All right, let's take care, because I like looking. Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, community members. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Safe Monroe, formerly known as Women's Resources, has been providing free and confidential services to anyone impacted by domestic and sexual abuse for over 43 years here in our community. Just yesterday, we put out our annual pinwheels display out in Courthouse Square. There are over 900 pinwheels. That signified the 900 individuals last year that we served throughout all of our programs here in Monroe County. We also have throughout this month a couple of awareness events that we have. Our annual Candlelight Vigil, which will be happening on October 17th, again in Courthouse Square. And we also have partnered with a few of our wonderful local breweries throughout the county to do a Hops for Hope campaign, raising some awareness and hopefully raising some funds to support our programs and services. We greatly appreciate the community's support, appreciate the county and the commissioner's support, and we hope that you will learn a little bit more about Safe Monroe and the work that we do by attending our annual Candlelight Vigil. That is really disconcerting.
You get used to it after a while.
As well as attending any of our information fundraisers. We're also always looking for volunteers. We have the only operating domestic violence crisis hotline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also operate the only domestic violence emergency shelter in Monroe County and one of only 2 dedicated domestic violence shelters in the entire northeastern region of Pennsylvania. We have been at capacity, if not over capacity, in our shelter for probably as long as I can remember. We just sheltered a family with 5 children 2 days ago, fleeing abuse, clothes on their back, and we're trying to figure out how to get people to school, how to get them to work. But we make it happen. And our amazing counselors and advocates work together to make these amazing times occur for these people who have been hurt to put to the lowest that they've ever been. And some of our volunteers as well taking hotline, one of them being our wonderful Jane Gagliardo, who's been one of our longtime volunteers helping out on the hotline. It's one of our critical resources that we have. It's a first line of defense for people accessing our services and hopefully getting to safety. So thank you very much for this confirmation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business, personnel, A and B. Approve ratified requests for additional hours in the sheriff's office for 9/8/24 and 9/22/24, and the attached agenda. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Electronic financial transactions, you'll see A, B, and C there, our vouchers, our gross payroll, and healthcare benefits. Is there a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Travel authorizations. Approve and ratify travel requests for adult probation, area agency on aging, the assessment office, the conservation district, domestic relations, the public defender, vector control, and veterans affairs. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Children and youth. Execute a following adoption assistance agreements for JC and OC. Amend the following adoption assistance agreements to rectify subsidy increase from $21 per day to $40 a day to assist in increased behavioral issues in LO, KO, BH, LH, and ZH. Execute purchase a service agreement for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2025 with the following: Impact Project, Outside School of Experimental Education, and Adelpo Village, and execute an agreement for the existing purchase of service agreement for Justice Works Youth Care, which includes 3 additional pages consisting of 2 additions to Attachment A as the additional program description and 1 addition to Attachment C to show the new program rates. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, I just want to note that JC and OC are brothers or family of children, and they are going to the same. So we love to see that. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Commissioner's Office. Approve the budget adjustment report dated 9/26/24. RSVP is moving money to their volunteer software subscription for $100. Capital outlay for the public defender for a copier for $500. Children and youth covering group home expenditures at $2,500. The controller for office supplies and forms of $900. The district attorney, $12,000 for transport of prisoners, as well as $17,000 for expert witness fees. The district attorney has a VIP grant that was awarded. That budget adjustment is $210,017. Drug and alcohol to cover opioid contracted services utilizing opioid funds is $100,000. MDJ's $187 for additional cameras and 2 MDJ courts. Public defender, $7,500 of subscriptions and books. The sheriff for vest is $3,400, and victim services, RAZA, is $1,035 for mileage, for a total of $355,139. We also have the approval of the use of Courthouse Square by Go Collaborative on November 29th for the annual downtown Stroudsburg tree lighting ceremony at 5:30 to 7:30. Ratify a CCAP insurance program for volunteers, special risk accident coverage for the period of October 1st, 24 through October 1st, 25 from the amount of $609.50. Ratify a proposal by Nauman, Inc. to provide a Climate Master water source heat pump in the second floor administration building for $7,836. Approve the proposal of Leon Clapper Plumbing and Heating, Water Conditioning Incorporated to install 2 natural gas A.O. Smith tankless water heaters for the Administrative Center in the amount of $9,850.50. Ratify the submittal of the 2024 renewal application of Workmen's Compensation Self-Insurance Program. Ratify the execution of an engagement letter with Babist Calland Attorneys at Law for jointly representing Monroe County with respect to litigation filed in the District Court of the Middle District of Pennsylvania entitled Republican National Committee et al. Al Schmidt at a current billing ranges of $160 to $705 per hour. Engagement letter with Ballast, Cullen, and Attorneys at Law to jointly represent Monroe County in respect to litigations filed in the District Court of the Middle District of Pennsylvania titled New PPA Project Education Fund et al. Versus Al Schmidt at a current billing rates of $160 to $705 per hour. Amend and execute number 7, KRB Consulting Services LLC to continue consulting on county water sewer projects at the ongoing rate of $150 an hour for 2025. Authorize the chief clerk to advertise the availability request of funding proposal RFP applications for the community block grant CSBG for 2025 fiscal year, and add the following vendors to the county list of approved vendors in aging: Elizabeth A. Mullen, John Esteves, and Paula Wilston. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The correctional facility adopted an resolution authorizing the emergency replacement and repair of a water heating unit at the Monroe County Correctional Facility. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Grants. Ratify authorization of the authorized representative Commissioner John D. Christie to sign the amendment of the 2022 Continuum of Care Program grant agreement.
Don't read it.
Okay. Approve the authorization of John D. Christie to sign for the fiscal year 2023 Continuum of Care Program agreement, amount of $277,017 for the period of January 1st through 25 through December 31st of 25. Authorize the grants manager Kwanzaa Smith to electronically sign for fiscal year 2025-26 Right of Service Act, the RAZA, for victims of juvenile offenders for $156,160 for the period of January 1st, 25 through December 31st of 25. Amend the following continuum of care grant subrecipient agreements to reflect the amended termination date of the contract to December 31st, 24, and the amended contract activity period from October 1st, 23 through December 31st of 24 for Pocono Family Promise of the Poconos and Pocono Mountains United Way, and authorize the grants manager Kwanzaa Smith to electronically submit a project modification request for fiscal year 23-24 RAZA and VOJO grants to move $499 from the supplies and operating expense line budget to travel and training item line. Is there a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Monroe County Municipal Waste Authority, acknowledge receipt of the Monroe County Municipal Authority financial statement audit for the period of ending on December 31st, 23. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Monroe County Transit Authority, appoint Bob Hay to the MCTA Board to replace Richard Muchler to fill the unexpired term to 2/7 of 25, and appoint Robert Brandt to the MCTA Board to replace Maria Candelaria to fill the unexpired term of 12/31/26. Is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Office of Emergency Management, to ratify authorization of Mary Ellen Keegan, Director, to advertise notice of the 2025 Monroe County Hazard Mitigation Plan update. Accept a quote by Richard Pierce Builders to repair fire training ground observation building roof for a total of $5,448.50. And accept a quote from Richard Pierce Builders to replace fire training building sloped roof in the amount of $8,326.80. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Pocono Mountains Economic Development Corporation acknowledged the receipt of the Monroe County Industrial Development Authority financial statement audit for the period ending December 31st, 23, and acknowledged the receipt of the Pocono Mountains Industrial Park Authority financial statement audit for the period ending December 31st of 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Pocono Mountains Municipal Airport Authority acknowledges the receipt of the Pocono Mountain Municipal Airport Authority financial statement audit for the period ending December 31st, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Ratify agreement within the Public Defender's Office for Thomson Reuters for Westlaw Clear ProFlex for the monthly amount of $750.71 for the first year, $788.23 for the second year, and $827.64 for the third year, the period of 7/1/24 through 6/30 of 27. Is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Redevelopment Authority of Monroe County, reappoint Patrick Ross to the Redevelopment Authority with a new term to expire October 21st of 2029. Approve the following certification documents and resolutions for the 2024 Community Development Block Grant. There's a CDBG General Application Certification of 24, the CDBG Disclosure Report, the four-factor analysis certification, four-factor analysis LAP certification, and language access plan certification, and the 24 CDBG resolution for application submission, as well as the 2024 CDBG Fair Housing Resolution, the 24 CDBG 504 Officer Designation, the 2024 CDBG Program Plans and Policy, and the cooperation agreement of the Stroudsburg Borough, the cooperation agreement with East Stroudsburg Borough, and lobbying certification form, workers' protection, and investment certification form. They've been very busy over there, haven't they? Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Capital outlay. Approve the capital purchases report dated 9/26/24 totaling $2,263.90. That all goes to the sheriff for the Armor Express ballistic panels and shock trauma plates for the vests there. Is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Computer capital, approve the computer capital purchase report dated 9/26/24 totaling $16,124.44. That is for 2 essential network switches. That is for one to replace one that was bad and to have one on the shelf. I have to say that when your switches go down, everything around us goes down, so that's why we need those. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Miscellaneous. Sharon, anything?
No, not to.
Dave? Okay, moving on to public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay. Don't forget, we have 2 other meetings. We have election board at 10:30 and assessment board at 1:30. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all.